Sorry, yeah. Okay, so I'm Xiaoling, and I will be serving as your moderator for this section. So I just joined Utah, I think, few months ago, and I'm one of the assistant professor currently serve in Department of Psychology and Counseling in Utah. Okay, so my area of study interest is more through workplace psychology. But then, however, I found this topic is very interesting. This is because I'm currently single, and I hope to know more about this, especially in Malaysia context. So before we begin, so please allow me to introduce a little bit background of Associate Professor Dr. Tan Chee-Seng. Okay, so Dr. Tan is currently served in Department of Psychology and Counseling as well in Utah, same as me and Dr. Gan. So he has published quite a lot of journal. It's about 56 journal article, which is a lot for a lecturer, especially at this young age. So I do believe that all of you will be able to benefit from Dr. Tan's sharing later on. So without further ado, I would like to welcome our speaker for this section, Singlehood is my choice, Associate Professor Dr. Tan Chee-Seng.
Hi, good morning. Thank you, Xiaoling. Hi, good morning. Thank you for your kind introduction, Xiaoling.
Yeah, Dr. Tan, perhaps that you would like to talk more about yourself, perhaps your education background, your research interests, and so on.
Sure.
So that we can know more about you.
Thank you, Xiaoling. Okay, I would love to do so. So good morning to all of you. First of all, thank you so much for joining us. And my appreciation also extend to Suwan and also Xiaoling for organizing this event with me. All right, so feel free to call me Chee-Seng or CS. Okay, so currently I'm an associate professor at the Department of Psychology and Counseling, University Tunku Abdul Rahman. So my main interest actually is positive psychology. Okay, in particular, okay, I specialize in the study of creativity and then the well-being. Okay, I also interested in measurements. Okay, say for example, developing the measurements and also validating the measurements. So later I will tell you how, okay, I moved from psychology, positive psychology, psychometric studies to singlehood, which is a part of the social psychology. All right, so I can see that there are some international participants. So perhaps allow me, okay, to introduce our institutions. Now, ladies and gentlemen, University Tunku Abdul Rahman, okay, or in acronym we call Utah, actually has two campuses. All right, so the first one is in the Selangor state at the Sungai Long, okay, we call it a Sungai Long campus. And the second campus, which is the main campus that we are based or we are located at, actually is in Perak. Okay, so on the left, you will see the map of the Malaysia. Okay, so our city, Kuala Lumpur, okay, our capitals, and Perak, okay, is somewhere above Kuala Lumpur. It's about 2.5 hours, okay, driving distance from KL. Okay, so here where we are, okay, we are here, okay, you see Tunku Abdul Rahman within the Perak. In particular, we are in a town called Kampar. Hey, Xiaoling, okay, I know that you are relatively new to Utah Kampar. Do you know the history of Kampar?
Yeah, sorry, not really. Yeah.
Yeah, no worry. Okay, so actually Kampar, okay, was well known for tin mining. Okay, so before that, okay, several decades ago, Kampar is a well-known, okay, town for tin mining. So now you can see, okay, our campus actually is surrounded by a lot of lakes and hills. All right. So if you are a natural lovers, okay, you are gonna love this place. Okay, you enjoy the natural scene very much. So ladies and gentlemen, okay, now the Malaysia's border is open, so feel free to visit us. Okay, we will walk you around. I believe Xiaoling will buy you a cup of coffee and then walk you around, okay, to enjoy the natural scene. Okay, so yeah, these are some of the campus, okay, the scene of our campus. Okay, so yeah, we do hope that one day we can see you at the Utah campus. And if you can't wait to take a look at our campus, okay, you can visit this website to take a virtual tour on our Kampa campus. All right, so yeah, Xiaoling, don't forget to take a look. You will be surprised with the beautiful scene.
Yeah, I already fall in love with Utah campus actually. Yeah, so I do encourage all of you, if you have chance, you should come.
That's great. Okay, yeah. All right, so okay, so I think let's get started with this section 1 on this Psychology of Singlehood Symposium.
Okay, so thank you, Dr. Tan. Maybe I should call you Chee-Seng, so better. So why do you choose to host this symposia?
Okay, so so as you guys know, this symposium mainly focus on singlehood. So I believe some of you will have questions like, hey, why you want to talk about singlehood and even organize a symposium on this? I think first of all, just to share with all of you, okay, compared to romantic relationships, okay, I would say that singlehood, this topic receive less attention, much less attention. All right, so therefore, not much literature on this. Okay, I would say there are other researchers they are working on it. Okay, but compared to the topic romantic relationship, our understanding of singlehood is relatively scarce. And then recently, my student and I, okay, we conducted some studies on singlehood. So we think that it is a good opportunity, and we should share the information with the public. After all, our Utah perspective is from the society to the society. All right. So since some of the studies are supported by Utah, so we think that it is time for us, okay, to circulate our findings with the public. And we hope that through this event, we can have interactions with the audience, collect some informations from the audience to help us, okay, to understand, hey, actually what people think about this topic. Yeah, so ladies and gentlemen, feel free to let us know what you think about the content, singlehood. Feel free to let us know your opinion later.
Thank you, Chee-Seng. So I do agree with you that most of the time we focus in terms of marital person, their well-being and so on. But then seem like not much researcher have focused in terms of well-being or our attitude being a singlehood, right? So why did you choose the topic of singlehood? Are there any interesting facts about the topic that make you want to learn more about it? Perhaps you can share with us.
Sure. Okay. So I would love to share. Perhaps I would like to indicate, okay, how I jump into this area, okay, or this topic. So as I mentioned at the beginning of my self introduction just now, I actually focus on positive psychology, okay, to understand how to enhance people well-being, what we can do to promote happiness, creativity, or gratitude of us. Okay, so how did I move to this topic, singlehood? Now, actually, the journey is very interesting. Now, this is because this topic was inspired by my students. All right, before that, I have little knowledge about singlehood. I only know that, okay, people in a relationship, in a romantic relationship, and for those who are not in a romantic relationship, we call them single. Okay, but before that, I would think that ultimately, okay, we have the preference, okay, to start or to engage in a romantic relationship, okay, to look for a romantic partner. Okay, however, okay, I remember that when I was teaching the course called Psychological Testing and Measurement, okay, I decided to give the students some hands-on experience how difficult it is to develop a psychological measurement. So I told them, so ladies and gentlemen, okay, we are going to have a hands-on exercise to develop a measurement. So tell me, okay, or suggest some of the topics that you guys would like to measure, okay, for this exercise. Okay, so after a round of the voting discussions, okay, singlehood, okay, becomes the top, okay, in the list. Right. So after that, okay, because I know nothing about singlehood, I have to go and study it before I can guide the students. Okay, so I start looking for the literature, and then I'm quite surprised, okay, that there's only relatively limited literatures. And also I learned from the students that, okay, because I also curious lah, okay, I thought the students, okay, they will suggest like romantic relationship, etc., but somehow they suggest the opposite, singlehood. So I checked with them. Okay, I checked with them. I asked them, is like, hey, what? Can you share with me? Okay, why do you want to study singlehood? Right. So some of the students told me that it is a trend, Chee-Seng, right? It is a trend among the youngster nowadays, right? So after that, okay, I go to look into more informations, and then yeah, agree with my students. All right, actually, it is a growing trend, and this trend happened globally, not only in Malaysia, but you'll be surprised in other countries, including US, Japan, Taiwan, or even China nowadays, right? So that's why we think that this is how I jump into this area and start studying singlehood. Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah, this is true as well. Nowadays, more and more single adult, yeah, sometimes they choose to be like that, right? So is there any interesting fact that you would like to share with us about the singlehood?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Regarding this one, okay. Now I would like to invite our participants, okay, to have some fingers activities. All right. So kindly use your mobile phone or smartphone to scan this QR code. If you are joining this section using your laptop or desktop, you can go to the www.menti.com and insert this 8-digit code. Okay, that will direct you to a page for you to insert your opinions about your impressions. Okay, to tell us your impression about single people. Okay, so let's see, okay, what we can get from the participant. Okay, yeah, so I invite you to join us to tell us what you think about single people.
Yeah, I think maybe we can give them about few minutes to fill in the form, perhaps 2 to 3. Okay.
That would be great. So maybe 2 minutes. And now, ladies and gentlemen, there is no correct or wrong answer. And for your information, this activities is anonymous. Yeah, so feel free to tell us, okay, your impressions about single people. Okay, so feel free to insert your comments. Now I receive about 6. Okay, so please continue to share with us what you think about it. Okay, so while waiting for our, okay, now we have received 11 responses. And while waiting for new responses, maybe I can share with you the responses we have collected so far. Okay, so you should be able to see the responses that we have collected so far, yeah? All right, so let's wait for another maybe 30 seconds.
That's great.
Okay, so far we have received 15 responses.
Yeah, Chee-Seng, perhaps we can go through the impression while we are waiting others to send in their comment.
Thank you, Chee-Seng. Right. Yeah. Okay. So now I believe on the screen we can see the first impression is rich. Okay. So means that to the person who gave these comments, okay, he or she perceived that single people are rich, freedom, lonely, successful. Okay, and then less emotional turmoil in life. Okay, happy, independent. Okay, this one is interesting. Happy but lonely. Right, and then this one is strange, antisocial. All right. Okay, so I'm not going to make a judgment. Okay, I just want to share with you what we have collected so far. All right, so like this input saying that generally happier. Okay, being in a relationship change a person, not in a bad way, but some people may feel the change is unwelcome. Right, well said. Okay, well said. It gives a more comprehensive perspective to us. Okay, it is either their choice to stay single or they are actively searching but being rejected. Right. So personally, I appreciate these inputs because it somehow indicate the two categories of singlehood, which I'm going to cover later. Okay. So they are independent but a bit lonely. Right. And others say that single people will have more time to spend with families and friends. Okay, they are independent, habitually silent, rich again. All right, and then the last one saying that single people are often looked down upon. So in a society, sometimes it affects their self-esteem. Okay, so among these 17 responses that we have collected so far, okay, so I believe you will agree with me that okay, there are positive and also negative impressions. All right, agree, Chee-Seng?
Yeah, agree.
Okay, so Chee-Seng, are you surprised with the input or responses that we have collected?
Yes, especially they mentioned that singlehood is rich, but then and also independent. I can see that, and also one actually catch my eye is that happy but lonely, right? Something.
Yes,
that,
happy but lonely.
Hmm.
So I thought, Chee-Seng, you are going to say, I agree with them because I am rich.
Not really. This one, I disagree with it.
Yeah, okay. So, yeah, interestingly, okay, we can see, okay, there are two groups of the comments, okay. Overall, we can group them into positive characteristics and the negative, all right? And now I would like to focus on the later ones, okay, which is the negative. Say, for example, some of our participants think that single people, they are strange, antisocials, or they are lonely. All right. So this is why we want to study the singlehood now, because I quite agree with them. It's like in our society, okay, we have been occupied by a culture in which we believe that in a romantic relationship, having a partner symbolize a success in our life or the completions of our life. All right. So therefore, when we come to singlehood or when we come to single people, all right, indirectly we will have this feeling. It's like, hey, single people, okay, or influenced by our culture, will tend to perceive that single people means, hey, it's somewhat incomplete. All right. And we ask, okay, why some people stay single, right? I believe, okay, some of the common reason that you heard about is like maybe they are picky, or like saying that they are too independent, they are too selective, or they are somehow now have some disorders or challenges. Okay, those negative characteristics. Okay, but this is not always the case. Okay, because even from these activities, we can see that nowadays, okay, single people have been positively perceived. It means it's like even among our participants, okay, they believe that, hey, single is not really bad. All right, let me share my slide with you. All right, single is not really bad. In fact, according to Professor DiPolo, okay, she is a very well-known scholars in studying singlehood. Okay, so Professor DiPolo has written a large number of articles, scholarly articles, books, okay, to talk about singlehood. Right. So one of the latest article that she published in Psychology Today website, okay, she mentioned that there are more single people than ever, which is quite true, okay, because when we look at the statistic, the number of single individuals below 30 years old, meaning 30 years old and above, okay, the number actually is increasing steadily. And this kind of the trend has been observed in different countries. Right? But what I really love this statement is the last thing. That is not a bad thing. All right. Yes. Okay. More and more people getting singles, but ladies and gentlemen, this is not a bad thing. All right. This is not a bad thing. So in fact, okay, we should understand this phenomena with a neutral, if not positive perspective. So because of this, okay, one of the first interesting findings that I would like to share with all of you is about the awareness. Okay, so first we have to aware that singlehood has become a trend, okay, a popular trend globally, worldwide. All right. So we need to understand it, and then at the same time, we also have to understand that, hey, this trend only reflects a personal choice. Okay, so like one of our participants mentioned just now, there sort of like there are two categories. Okay, some people, okay, they're kind of forced to stay single. Okay, we call it involuntary singlehood. So what I mean involuntary singlehood is that this group of the people, okay, actually they would like to have a romantic partner, engage in a romantic relationship. Okay. However, okay, due to some reasons, okay, they have yet to find a romantic relationship, right? Or they are less likely to find a romantic relationship compared to others. But on the other hand, we have another group of people who voluntarily to stay single. Okay, we name it voluntary singlehood. Right. So as the name suggests, is like they choose to stay single. It is their options. Okay, this group of people are just like most of us. Okay, they have all the they fulfill all the requirements. I mean, they are physically fit. Okay, they also have the sufficient conditions or criteria, okay, to start a romantic relationship. Just somehow they choose not to do so. All right. So at this moment, I would like to highlight that there are two groups of the single people, involuntary and then the voluntary. Okay. So Selling, okay, let me ask you. Why do you think it is important for us to classify these two groups of singlehood?
I think because based on intentions, perhaps because one is their choice, but then another one is they hope to look for another partner, but then perhaps there are some limitation, or maybe I shouldn't mention limitation, seems like I'm stereotyped them. Perhaps there is some factor which have yeah. So I think we should look at these two components lah. If not, seem like people tend to label us who are single toward more negative side.
Thank you, Chee-Seng. Okay, in fact, you just pointed out two important or two key information here. One is the intentions, another is the negative label. Right. So in the past, when we say single people, okay, we did not distinguish them. Okay, we did not distinguish in terms of their intention, whether it is their choice or not. Okay, so as a result, when we mention single people, we usually tend to link it with the involuntary singlehood. Right, so therefore we will have this, we will heard about this reason why the people stay single, because they experience some challenges, or they, with their qualification, they may experience difficulty to find a romantic partner. Or someone will say that because they are picky. Okay, for those who are overqualified, they have too good qualifications. Okay, we will say that they are too picky.
Usually we will say that they are not good enough to get another partner, right?
Yeah, sometimes we say they are not good enough, but some people is like, we will say that they are too good.
Too good.
Yeah, until they are too picky. Yeah. So when we do so, okay, we cannot avoid from some negative label. So let's take picky for example, right? So perhaps you heard about maybe your parents, okay, or others relatives saying that, oh, you are with your conditions, qualification, okay, you should be able to find a romantic partner easily and form a family. Don't be too picky, right? Don't be too picky. So it's sort of like we are imposing some negative judgment or label on you, right? And as a result, whenever we mention single people, okay, unavoidably, okay, there will come up a lot of negative label, some stereotype. Okay. So let's say today's, okay, if you bump into someone, or you heard that someone is describing an individual about 40 years old who is still single, all right, you can easily, okay, hear some negative label, okay, on these single individuals, right? So this is how our society, okay, perceive the singlehood. So as a result, okay, I think it is important for us to stigmatize singlehood, right? So because we have to understand that nowadays singlehood can be an option, can be a choice to the people. So it is unfair to the people who choose to stay single, and then we say that, oh, you are too picky or what, right? And I would like to share with all of you is that by doing this research and this sharing, we hope that we can prevent some discriminations or stigmatizations. Okay, so there are two important aspects I would like to highlight here. First is that we have to respect their choice. Okay, we have to respect people who choose to engage in a romantic relationship, get married, okay, give birth, have a new family. But at the same time, we should also respect people who choose to stay single. I mean, there is no difference, okay? There's no difference between the two choices, right? It is perfectly fine for you to choose to engage in a romantic relationship, okay, to be move into the parenthood. But on the other hand, what is the difference for people to stay single? All right, I don't see any conflict between them. Okay, we cannot say that just because most people, okay, most of the people choose to engage in a romantic relationship, okay, move into parenthood, and then we say that, hey, being single is not right. Okay, I don't see any logic behind it. Okay, so I would like to take this opportunity, okay, to urge, okay, people, okay, our participants, and also later to share with your friends. Singlehood is an option, right? And we should respect this option. We should respect this choice. Okay. At the same time, okay, it is time for us to embrace and appreciate the diversity. Right. So although our cultures keep emphasizing, the beauty of romantic love, okay, or suggesting us that a romantic relationship is a booster to our happiness, right? But think about it, okay? Don't you think that life will be too boring if we standardize everything when all of us become the same, right? So singlehood, yeah, I would say this is also a common or healthy phenomena, right? So regardless of how singles or being in a relationship, they are just two different lifestyle, two different choices. Okay? So we should appreciate it. Because of these different choices, it makes our world becomes a more beautiful place. Okay, we have something different. I believe the beauty of diversity will be fully appreciated by Malaysians who enjoy different types of the cuisine. All right, so we can see the beauty of diversity. Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Chee-Seng. Yeah, your message very comfort me because as a single person, yeah, thank you for that. And just now you mentioned about voluntary and also involuntary singlehood, right? So I just wondering, how could we know our preference for singlehood? Is there any way for us to know ourselves better?
Yes, okay, Chee-Seng, okay, I can share with you, okay, with my students, okay, we develop a skill to measure individuals' attitudes toward singlehood. All right, so let me briefly explain this psychological measurement with all of us. Okay, these measurements, okay, allow us, okay, to understand our preference or our attitudes toward the singlehood. So what I mean is like, okay, so if you have a more positive attitude towards singlehood, so that means that, hey, singlehood seems to you that is something preferable. All right. On the other hand, if you score low in these attitudes towards singlehood skill, that means singlehood is not your cup of tea. Right. So by knowing this kind of the attitude, okay, we can roughly, okay, have some estimations, okay, about the individual's decisions, whether the individuals tend to stay single or not. Okay, so this is because according to psychological research, attitudes, okay, is one of the factors that influence our intention to do something, right? And then our intentions, okay, will then determine whether or not we will carry out the behavior, right? So therefore, if you have a positive attitude towards singlehood, right, you are more likely to have a high intentions to stay single. So with the high intentions, you are also likely to take action, that is to stay single. All right, so I believe some of you will be curious, okay, or you are keen to know your attitudes towards singlehood. So ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite you, okay, to answer these 9 items of the attitudes towards singlehood skill. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to present you the first 3 items here. All right, so kindly read each of the items and then you select, okay, from 1 to 7. Okay, 1 means strongly disagree, 7 means strongly agree. Okay, so if you strongly agree with the statement number 1, I feel happy when I'm single, please choose 7. Okay, so I encourage you to write down your score, okay, because later we are going to calculate the score, right? So now, okay, kindly answer the 3 items and then you can record down the total score for these 3 items. Okay, you just sum up the 3 item score. So maybe we take 1 minute for you to answer these 3 items. So remember, there's no correct or wrong answer, yeah? Okay, it simply based on your perceptions. So feel free to let us know in the chat room if you have any inquiries about answering the items. Okay. So for the total score, you just sum up the 3 item score. Say, for example, if you score 7 in the first item, 6 in the second, and then 5 in the last item, third item, you just sum that up, 7 plus 6 plus 5. Okay. So Siri, do you think we can move to the next slide?
Yeah, okay, can. I done my part.
Okay, thank you. So please take note now. Okay, please record down your total score. We call it effective total score for these 3 items. Okay, now we move to the next 3 items. Okay, again, there are 3 items. So please read each of them and then you choose one of the one score from 1 to 7. So similarly, after you choose the score, please sum the 3 item score up.
Okay, I done my part, Chee-Seng.
Thank you, Siri. So maybe another 30 seconds for the other participants.
Okay.
Feel free to let me know if you need me to show you the previous 3 items. Okay, we can always move back to the previous slide. Okay, so make sure you calculate the total score for these 3 items, item 4 to item 6. And then we call it the behavioral total score, yeah? Right, so make sure you jot down the total score. Okay, so now we move to the last 3 items, item 7 to 9. Similarly, okay, kindly read each of the 3 items. Okay, and then you choose a score from 1 to 7.
Okay, I done my part.
Thank you, Celine, for the feedback. All right. So again, okay, we wait for 30 seconds. Okay, so similarly, for these 3 items, okay, calculate the total score. Okay, so just add up the 3 item score, then you will get the total score for the cognitive dimension. Okay, so now you should have answered all the 9 items, and you are supposed to have 3 total scores with you, yeah? Okay, so if you need me to show you the items of in the previous 2 slides, feel free to let me know in the chat box. Okay, so far I don't see any requests, so I guess everyone is ready. Okay, so now, okay, let's calculate the score. Okay, just now you have record down the 3 total score, okay, for the affective, behavioral, and the cognitive dimensions. Okay, so now you can list them out. Okay, you sum up the 3 score here. Okay, and then divided by 9. Okay, so by dividing 9, okay, you are able to get an average score. So maybe we take some time, okay, for you to use the calculator.
Okay, I'm done.
Okay, okay. So Siri, if you don't mind, would you share your
my
score with us?
Okay, can. So for affection, I score 15,
1, 5.
behavior
Ah.
13, and cognitive 11. So my total score is 39. And after divided 9, it will be 4.3.
4.3. Okay. So ladies and gentlemen, okay, just now we see that for each item, okay, you evaluate the item from 1 to 7. Okay. So for your average score, okay, should also within the range of 1 to 7. Okay, this is just for you to check your calculations. Okay, if your score is above 7, that means something wrong with your calculation. Yeah. Okay, so next, okay, I would like to walk you through how to interpret the score. Okay, so first of all, for the average score, the higher the score means that you have more positive attitude toward singlehood. All right, so gender reminder that the maximum score is 7. So if your score is closer to 7, that means you tend to prefer staying single. Okay, on the other hand, if your score is getting closer to the minimum value, which is 1, that means singlehood is not really your cup of tea. Huh? All right, yeah. So the higher the score, okay, so the higher the score, that means the more positive attitudes towards singlehood. And just now, okay, you also calculate the 3 total score, right? Okay, so like Chee-Seng's examples, she score highest in the affective total score.
Yeah.
So that means compared to the behavior or cognitive, Chee-Seng feel that singlehood is somewhat positive. All right, because this 3 dimension will help us to understand, hey, of course, it's like if you score very high in the average score, then of course you will also score very high in all the 3 dimensions. Okay, but if let's say, okay, your score like Chee-Seng score about around 4 point something, okay, then we can go into the 3 total score here and see, hey, actually which part is appreciated by Chee-Seng. All right, it seems like the emotional part, okay, so is what Chee-Seng appreciated for the singlehood.
Okay. So Chee-Seng, I have a question because I scored the lower mark in the cognitive component. Yes. So what it means actually?
Okay. So let's say we compare your affective total score with the cognitive total score. Okay. Now affective means our emotional part, and then cognitive refers to what we think about it. Okay. So now in Chee-Seng case, she scored higher in the affective total score. That means in terms of emotions, okay, Chee-Seng will have a more positive feeling towards singlehood. That means emotionally speaking, singlehood is something preferable to Chee-Seng. However, okay, Chee-Seng score relatively lower in the cognitive. So that means to Chee-Seng, singlehood is not something important to her. All right, so that means in terms of your perceptions, okay, you feel good with the singlehood, but you don't really think that singlehood is very important. Staying single is very important.
Okay. Yeah, I have better idea now. But then how about behavior?
Okay, that means whether you will really engage or do something related to singlehood. Because if we look at the 3 items for the behavior, yeah. Okay, so I would stay single to have more personal space. So people who score low in this behavioral total score, so that means they are less likely to carry out the actions to stay single.
Oh, okay, good. Thank you, Dr. Tan. So now I have better understanding.
Yeah, so ladies and gentlemen, you can ask yourself, you can check your score. Okay, why sometimes you observe some discrepancy. For example, let's say some of you may score very high in the affective total score, but low in the behavioral total score. Okay, now this is because it's like sometimes, especially for those who are married, all right, affectively or emotionally speaking, you still prefer single. Okay, but in the reality, you cannot engage in any activities. You cannot take action to stay single because you have your commitment. Right? You have to take care of your family, your spouse. All right. In certain case, okay, to score lowest, okay, among the 3 total scores, she score lowest in the connective. All right. So that means to Ceiling, it will be great. Okay, emotionally speaking, it will be great if she can stay single. She's also willing to take some action to stay single. However, okay, relatively speaking, it doesn't matter. Okay, it does little sense or not so important whether staying single or not.
So in other words, perhaps I might not think that singlehood is a good choice. Is it what it means?
Yeah, emotionally speaking, you feel good if you can stay single. Okay, but on the other hand, you feel like, okay, it doesn't matter. Even if I am not single, I'm in a romantic relationship, it is also fine to me.
Okay, thank you for the assessment, so that I know better about myself now. So I hope the audience also feel so. Yeah.
Okay. So I hope this can help the audience. Okay, if your score is consistently high, then that's easier to interpret. That means singlehood is really your cup of tea. Okay, but if you have some discrepancy among the score, that at least to give you some idea. All right. So for example, if you score the lowest in the connective part, okay, so that means it's like emotionally and behaviorally speaking, you prefer to stay single, but you are also open, okay, to romantic relationship. Yeah, of course, it's like the score will be different now. Okay, when answered by different group, different populations. So for example, currently single individuals and those who are married, okay, there could be some differences. Yeah.
Oh, so the married individual also can take this score. This score is not only meant for the single person, is it?
Yeah, definitely, because like myself, okay, even I'm married, okay, but I may also have my own attitude towards singlehood. Okay, so you may hear someone to say that someone who are married, okay, they wish to back to singlehood. All right.
Okay, thank you. So just out of my curiosity, just now I looked at the article that you have published. You mentioned that Malaysia and Indonesia that you developed this instrument, right? So are the result how people feel about being single or their attitude towards singlehood the same in the different country?
Okay, thank you. Okay, so yes, okay, we administer the attitude towards singlehood skill to young adults in Malaysia, Japan, and India. Okay, so here is the breakdown of the sample size. So in total, we collected responses from 1,108 participants across the 3 countries here. Right, so you can see on average, they are young people, okay, around 23 years old. Okay, so interestingly, okay, let us look at the responses or the result from the 3 countries. Okay, first of all, let us look at the overall score, okay, which is the average score that you calculated just now. Okay, so the green color shows, okay, those who score 3.5 and above. Okay, because just now the range of the average score was 1 to 7. Okay, so I arbitrarily choose the middle point, 3.5. Okay, so if the individual score 3.51 and above, okay, then he or she will be in the green bar. Okay. On the other hand, okay, for those who score 3.5 and below, okay, that is the blue bar. Okay. So for Malaysians, okay, you can see that, okay, among the female Malaysians, majority of them, okay, they hold a positive attitude towards singlehood. Okay, just to show you, okay, we have 254 females participants from Malaysia. Okay, majority of them, okay, say that or indicate that they prefer to stay single. Same pattern also observed for male, right? And we also observe the same result in India. All right, so both female and males in India, they also prefer to stay single. That means they have a positive attitude. However, when it comes to Japan, all right, you will see that the blue color bar is slightly higher among male and female in Japan. So that means to them, okay, on average speaking, they tend to have a less positive attitude towards singlehood. All right. But later you see some interesting parts. Remember just now we talked about the 3 dimensions, right? Affective, behavioral, and cognitive. All right. So now let us take a look at the 3 particular dimensions. For Malaysians and Indians participants, they remain the same pattern. Okay, this is for the emotional part. Okay, but for the Japans, interestingly, we found that among the female Japanese, right, there are more of them, okay, indicate that emotionally speaking, they feel positive towards single. Okay, but not much different for the male Japanese. And for the behavior part, again, Malaysia, Indians remain the same patterns. Okay, but this round, okay, among the female and male Japanese, all right, both of them indicate that, okay, they tend to engage in some activities to stay single. All right. Last but not least, okay, for the connective part, that means whether or not staying single is important to them. Malaysia, Indians still remain the same. Just for the male Indians, okay, the gap is getting smaller. Right, but then for the Japanese, okay, for female Japanese, a high portion of them think that it is not so important to remain single. So from this result, we can see that Malaysians, okay, we shows quite consistent. Malaysians, male and female, consistently shows that they prefer to stay single. Okay, and then the same pattern has also observed among the Indian participants. Just for Japan, right, they show some differences, right? Even though overall speaking, they tend to avoid staying single, but in some particular dimensions, such as the emotions and also the behaviors, okay, actually they will show the preference to stay single. Yeah, so I think this result can give us a better idea, right?
So Chee-Seng, is it any reason behind that Japan culture a bit different from us, Malaysia and Indian?
Wow, this is a very good and tough question, Sally.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, yeah. Unfortunately, we did not really look into the cultural parts, okay. Because in the study, actually, we study, our goal is to identify the factors that influence our participant attention to stay single. All right, so the
yeah, perhaps you can do further study on it.
Definitely. Okay.
Yes. So sorry. So just now you mentioned about the factor, right?
Uh,
So what could be the factor that may affect our attitude towards singlehood? Any interesting finding that you may share with us?
Yeah, sure. Okay, just before I explain the three factors, okay, I just want to address Siu-Ling's suggestions now. Okay, because in our analysis we go with the average score. We did not break down into 3 dimensions. Yeah, so when I prepared the slide, I also quite surprised with the results. So definitely, okay, so we should look into the cultural reasons. So if any of the participants, audience, you have any suggestions, okay, what could be the reason for the discrepancy that we observe among the Japanese participants? Feel free to let us know. Okay, so in the studies, okay, we examine the following 3 factors, okay, on participant in attitudes toward singlehood. So the first one, subjective social economic status, or in short, we call it the SSES. So this reflects our subjective evaluations of our economic status. All right. So the higher the score means that you perceive that compared to your peers, same age as you think that your social economic status is higher than them. For example, that means that you think that you are richer than them, you have more resources than them. The second factor is relational mobility. Okay, it indicates the extent to which we are able to find a partner or start a new relationship in our environment. So the higher the score, okay, means that the higher the mobility. In other words, it is in my environment, okay, it is easier for me, okay, to start a new relationship if I wish to. Okay, last but not least, the desirability of control. Okay, someone who score high in this factor means that the individual will have a high desire to control, okay, to control his or her own life or even other people. Okay, so we would like to know, okay, among these 3 factors, which one actually can contribute or influence our attitudes towards singlehood? So now let me show you the result. Okay, so don't worry, okay, if you are not familiar with statistics, or if you are the type of person who feel panic, okay, when dealing with statistics, okay, so let me tell you the important findings here. So first of all, okay, we also examine the relationship between narcissism and social anxiety. All right, and we found that only social anxiety has a positive relationship with attitudes towards singlehood. Okay, so the finding is not like consistent with our beliefs. Is like shy people, all right, or people who feel anxious, okay, when talking to others or socializing with others, okay, they tend to have a positive feeling, positive attitude to stay single. All right. But what's more, after that, okay, we found that it is the desirability of control. Out of the 3 factors I introduced you just now, only the last one, which is the desirability of control, has a relationship with attitudes towards singlehood. Okay, so the result means that someone who has a high desire or high need to control his or her own life, then the individuals tend to stay single or prefer to stay single. Okay, so that makes sense, okay, because I believe people, especially those who are married with family, you will understand, okay, the importance of control, okay, because when you have families, you have less control over your life, okay, you have to prioritize your family. Okay, I think what's more interesting, okay, in the finding is the interactions between the social economic status and the mobility. Right. So for this part, okay, if I'm allowed, okay, I would like to further explain. Okay, so we found 2 interesting findings, okay, in the analysis. Okay, the first one, when the relational mobility was low. Okay, so the gender reminder that relational mobility indicates how easy we can start a new relationship, okay, in the community, in our community. Okay, so when it is difficult for us to start a relationship in our community, okay, people who have a high social economic status, actually they tend to prefer singlehood. They prefer to stay single. All right, so once again, in the environment or in the community that's difficult for us to start a relationship, so those who have more resources, actually they prefer to stay single. So this is somewhat different from our expectation, because we think that, hey, if you are high in the social economic status, you should be easier to find a romantic partner than others. So in that case, you should have a more positive attitude, okay, toward the romantic relationship. But our findings suggest the other way. Okay, and then another interesting finding is that when our social economic status is low, for example, we are not that rich, okay, then we tend to, okay, we tend to remain single, even though it is very easy for us to start a relationship. Okay, so let me put it in another way. Okay, so let's say today's in our community, it is easier for us to start a romantic relationship. For example, the youngsters, okay, you are surrounded by your peers, so actually you are relatively easy, okay, to find a romantic partner. Okay, however, okay, if you perceive that your social economic status is low, that means you perceive that you are not that resourceful, you are not that rich, actually you tend to stay single. Right. So the second part actually gives us some idea, okay. It's like the financial constraint could be one of the key reasons why the youngster nowadays, okay, they tend to have a positive attitude towards singlehood, right? Because with the limited resources, like some of my participants share with us, is like they calculate the cost, okay, for dating, okay, to have a romantic partners, okay, to get married. Okay, so they would think that why not I use the budgets, okay, for other purpose, like to improve myself, or I use the time for dating, okay, to build up my own business. Yeah, so I think this finding also quite consistent with our current findings, like financial constraint that experienced by the youngster actually has a negative impact on their development or their planning. Yeah. Okay. So are you okay, Chee-Seng?
Yeah, okay. Interesting finding, yeah. So only know that, yeah, social economic status is one of the important factor will also affected our singlehood preference. So thank you very much, Dr. Tan, for the interesting sharing for the topic. I think I have asked a lot of questions just now. So perhaps now I would like to pass to the audience. If let's say that you have any question that you would like to ask, so please feel free to do so. You can drop your question in the meeting chat, and I think the participant also allowed to unmute themselves, right? To ask
Yes.
question. So you also unmute yourselves to ask question. Okay,
So,
maybe we can give them about 1 minute to think about the question or to write down their question in the meeting chat. Yeah, I think we have one question. So, okay. So from JC, so she asked about what could be the possible reason for the differences in Japan. The world seem to be going along the trend of India and Malaysia.
okay, thank you, Dr. Fern. Yeah, so good to see you here. Okay, I think just now we discussed this with Chee-Seng. So because we found that the result actually is quite consistent between the Indian and Malaysian participants, but for Japan, it is somewhat different, at least slightly different in terms of the overall score and also the connective. Okay, so first of all, I have to admit that at this moment, I don't have any explanations. I mean, I don't have any evidence to account for this discrepancy. Okay, but if you ask for my personal assumptions or guess, okay, I would say that this could be due to in the Japan's, their culture still highly emphasized on getting married. Okay, so that means emotionally and behaviorally speaking, they prefer to stay single. Okay, but okay, the pressures of the norm and the cultures, okay, makes them to experience a higher need to get married. Right. So of course, this is just I have to emphasize that this is my personal guess, and I would appreciate, okay, the audience, okay, to share with us what you think about this discrepancy.
Yeah, I think she did share about her own opinion as well. She mentioned that to me personally, I feel that the youngest generation of India and Malaysia is moving away from the norm of collectivities of the society as compared to Japan. This is the only an unproved assumption of mine. I would like to know your personal opinion on this.
Hey, Siri, for your information, okay, Dr. Jessie Fern is my collaborator in India. Yeah,
oh, so, okay. Hi, nice to meet you.
Yeah. So I welcome Dr. Fern, okay, to tell us more about the situation in India. Help us to understand, Dr. Fern.
Yeah.
Yeah. Feel free to unmute yourself and yeah, let us know.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Yeah, there are a few of my students here. I think they might give a better reply because most of this data is gathered from young people.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Oh, good.
So there's I have Jeffin here who might have some opinion, and also Dwayne, if they can say something. Jeffin? Nobody's replying. Yeah, the second thing was not written by me, but I think somebody else has written it. Yes.
Okay, now, Dr. Fern, what do you think personally? Do you think singlehood has become more and more popular in India?
I certainly think there's a big change. Earlier, we also have a culture where people are forced to get married. So like Japan, it's very important to get married for us also. But young people now are not finding it so easy with the lack of maybe the economic problems and also the emotional problems and family problems. They would rather remain single. I think like somebody just mentioned earlier, there is more of an emphasis on individuals rather than what society wants. Collectivism is decreasing. So people look for what pleases them rather than what pleases society. And women have, I think women lose out more in a marriage when they're married. So more of women opinions are changing, whereas I think marriage is better for a man than for a woman, because men gain far more when they get married in terms of partnership and several aspects of life. Whereas for women, I think marriage is more constricting. So which is why I see the big change that is happening for women than for men, and also the changing culture towards individualism. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Doctor. So I think that we also can see this trend based on the graph that show here, like female prefer singlehood, right, compared to male. And I think we have another comment that we received from Suro. Okay, say, hi, sir. Do you think that is there something to do with the aging population in Japan. So perhaps they prefer to have someone during their later year.
Suro, I really have no idea whether this is I will say that it is possible, but at this moment I don't have any evidence to support this statement. Yeah, so I think because now we are sort of like brainstorming what could be the reason. Yeah, so thanks for the input, Suro. Yeah. And then next one, okay, the latest comment. Okay, hey Silik, okay, I would like to meet Prof. Chang from Taiwan.
Okay.
Wrote the last comment, okay, Prof. Chang. So yeah, Prof. Chang, if I'm not mistaken, I did run the analysis separately. Okay, so the results are quite consistent with the combined data sets. So I did not report the details. Yeah. So Prof. Chang, maybe you can, Chang, okay, maybe you can share with us because Prof. Chang is also an expert in human relationships and also singlehood in Taiwan. So yeah, Prof. Chang, would you mind to share with us the situations in Taiwan?
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you clearly.
Okay. Well, actually, I'm not really an expert in singlehood because my main research interest is romantic relationship. And I start to be interested in the research of singlehood is because Chee-Seng, he went to collaborate with me and collect data in Taiwan. And now we are still collecting data, so I didn't know the result yet. But in terms of the difference between the three cultures you found in your study, actually I'm not very familiar with Japanese culture, but I know that Japanese, they endorse Confucius values. If that's the case, then in Confucius, there is a very important value that children or adult has the obligation to get married and have children because they have to I don't know how to say it in English. Maybe Chee-Seng can help me. They have to 传承 their family name. So maybe you can translate for me. 传承 means they have to
Cyril, any idea like they sort of have to pass on their families?
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
You have to pass. So it's
pass down the legacy. Yeah.
And you have to have a child of children to pass the family name. So and in Confucius culture, you have to first get married to have children, right? So that's why in most Confucius culture, getting married, having children is more important, and that makes many people to feel obligated, or that's their cultural value, and it's hard to violate, and or you have to pay a lot of I don't know how to say it, but it's if that's very important in your culture, then and it's hard for you to stay single. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think it's also same as what our Chinese thought as well, right? So based on my opinion for example, usually we will say that 先成家后治国 meaning
Right.
that you should form your family first before you conquer the country. So that you can see maybe our tradition are very emphasized in terms of the forming family and so on, and you should get married and own your company before you can start a good business or good career. So perhaps it influenced by it, but then I do believe that Chee-Seng will do more research on it to find out the answer and then share with us after that, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Actually, there are some literature about this part of cultural value and explanation. Yeah.
Yeah, so
maybe
we look forward to Prof. Chang's sharing in the very soon. Okay, yeah, because Prof. Chang is collecting data. Okay, so yeah, we can expect Prof. Chang to share with us her findings in the next symposium. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe next time. Okay.
Yeah, thank you, Prof. I think we have another comment. So we think that I think Suro bring out a great point, which says a big ratio of older people in Japan. It might seem like the topic of an aging population is a lot more different in Japan, whereas in India, overpopulation is the problem. So perhaps that Chee-Seng, would you like to give some comment on the statement?
Dr. Fen is more familiar with the issue in India. Okay, so, I do agree with both Dr. Fen and Prof. Chang, because from the Japanese sample, right, we only found that only in the cognitive dimensions, okay, that they have the higher negative attitude towards singlehood. Okay, so to me, it's similar to the case of Xiu-Ling. Okay, that means it's like they tend to feel good about singlehood, and they also prefer, okay, to stay single so that they have control. However, connectively speaking, they think that it doesn't matter if I have to engage in a romantic relationship. I think this could be okay, due to the pressures, like what Prof. Chang mentioned just now. They have to form their own family to pass down the legacy, right? So that means that even personally, they found that, hey, singlehood is preferable, but due to the norm pressures, okay, yeah, they may have to compromise.
So is there any question from the student? Perhaps we can still take 1 to 2 questions. Okay, and before that, yeah, I have shared the 2 articles published by Dr. Tan. So please feel free to download it and go through it. Yeah. Okay. And by the way, may I know that if there has any question, how they can contact you, Dr. Tan?
Yeah, they can contact me through my email, and also you can find me on Facebook, and this is my website, okay, to learn the latest informations. Yeah.
Any other question from the audience, perhaps?
Especially the youngster in Malaysia, share with us what you think.
Yeah.
Maybe Pui-Ling, okay, Pui-Ling, what do you think? Any message to share with us about this topic? Because I can recognize our students, or maybe, yeah, I'm not sure, Miss Eng, okay, whether you would like to share something with us. Thank you, Pui-Ling. So what do you think as a youngster? Oops. Okay, you make sense, Dr. Gan. Maybe they are not single, but even though they are not single, maybe in a relationship makes them to prefer to stay single. Yeah.
Can I share something about my thoughts on the singlehood topic, especially the findings? Because I think connectively why Japan people they are having negative like attitudes towards singlehood. I think perhaps because of their ranking on career promotions and all that in culture, that male are in charge of feeding the family and female are actually more handling their family households or all that. So perhaps there might have the pressures to get a partner and form their family instead for their society's reputations, their social status, I don't know, for career promotions also. I think perhaps their thoughts on their view on singlehood is might not just like how we are saying that is a negative stereotype on single people, and also they are preferables to have people who are married to hand over their company. They say, oh, if you have commitment, then it's kind of hard for you to leave, or you might not just resign easily as single people since you have a family to feed, right? Yeah, that's only my thought. Yeah.
Thank you, Suro. Yeah. So I do agree with you because some people they will try to link maturity with let's say family commitment. So that means if you have your own family, you are parents, okay, they believe that you are more mature than those who are single. Okay, but I'm not saying that this is a correct, correct thoughts. Just some people they will have this kind of the mindset. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So I think we have another comment from the student, Hui Ling. She mentioned that I have never really considered the possibility that a person will be single voluntary or involuntary, because being in a romantic relationship can be so mainstream these days with the image of online dating in the recent year. This is definitely inspired me to find out more about it.
Wow, thank you, Pui. It makes me to have the need to clarify that the purpose of this symposium is not to encourage people to stay single. Okay, we are not encouraging people to stay single or must in a romantic relationship. Okay, we are just sharing the information. Okay, to tell people that regardless of your romantic relationship status, this is a personal choice. All right, so so we just want to highlight this message so that we become we can embrace the diversity. Yeah.
Okay, so is there any take-home message that you would like to highlight?
Here I have a response to Peilong's reaction. Actually, I'm conducting a dating app research right now. It's a qualitative research, and I found out that that's just opposite, because nowadays we have so many online dating app, and people have more choice, and that makes people want to more likely to stay single because they have more choice. so I think that's my recent observation, and I want to share with you. Okay.
Thank you, Prof. Chang. That's important sharing. Okay, so helping us to know that more choices actually is also one of the reasons why we want to stay single.
Yeah, that's probably part of relational mobility in the concept that you just mentioned.
Yeah. So does that apply to you, Chee-Seng, because you have too many options?
This one we talk after the section, okay?
Okay.
Okay, so I think we are about the time. So perhaps, Chee-Seng, you have any other thing that you would like to highlight or add on before we pass the section?
Okay, so I think just want to emphasize that it is a personal choice. So that means is that we should not give a negative label to those who are in, for those who are single, and at the same time is that we do not have to, how to say, for those in a romantic relationship. Okay, yeah, please continue. Yeah, there's no correct or wrong. Okay, as long as you think that it is what you want. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Tan. And perhaps Dr. Tan, you can share with us your contact detail again. So if any of you have any question, or maybe you have any research idea that you would like to contact Dr. Tan, please feel free to do so. So there are email, website, and so on. Okay, so I think that's all. Thank you. Thank you for your participation, and I would like to pass the section back to the chat. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and thank you to all for your being the moderator for these sessions. So thank you for your sharings. It's very interesting, and somehow, okay, we can see the differences between few countries about singlehood. So now we finish our session 1, but we still going to have another 2 sessions, which is sessions 2, single, not yet ready to mingle. We are going to start at 1:30 p.m. So maybe now we are going to have lunch break, but since this is not a physical activity, you can get your lunch by yourself. Then we can get back here again at 1:30 p.m. You can leave these meetings and join these again at 1:20 or 1:50. So see you again. Thank you very much.